because my husband is the main cook. They are definitely now having meat-free days each week, which is something that they felt that they would never do. I am by no means an expert in the subjects I'm about to talk about. It is just what I have learned on my personal journey. If I could have slide 1, please. My health is my main reason for not eating meat. Almost 7 years ago, my world was turned upside down when I was diagnosed with a rare form of blood cancer and bone marrow failure. Once I got over the shock, numerous tests, and knew what my treatment plan was going to be, I did a lot of research into cancer and health. One thing that kept jumping out at me was being vegan and the positive testimonies that I kept reading about. So I started eating less meat, and about 3 years ago, I stopped eating meat. I do still eat local organic free-range eggs because I still need the protein in my diet. The World Health Organization and its classification of red meat and processed meat talks about increased risk of cancer, death, and heart disease. Not that I'm a football fan, but Jermaine Defoe, an England footballer, is vegan along with many other athletes. It has been reported by some athletes that they have found that they recover quicker from injury on a plant-based diet. And there is a football team called Forest Green Rovers who back in 2010 started taking their players and fans on a journey through being vegetarian, and now they are all vegan. They are the first vegan football team in the world and the first to be certified as carbon neutral by the United Nations. Now, my next 4 slides are in no particular order of importance because they are all important to me. So if I could have the next slide, please. Animal welfare and over farming. I think the images say it all, really. The cows there in America are not even standing on any grass, fed with hay, which is supplemented with grain and soya. The use of antibiotics to promote farm animal growth is against the law in the EU, but legal in a number of other countries like the United States. And they reckon around 80% of all antibiotics are believed to be used on farm animals. Looking at the image, water needed for different types of food groups. Globally, beef production requires 28 times the land of the other average groups, 11 times the amount of water, and produces 5 times more greenhouse gases. Rainforests once covered 14% of the Earth's land, but just over half has now vanished. Experts predict that they will disappear altogether in 100 years, and the size of 30 football pitches is cleared every minute. And that came from the Business Telegraph. Areas of the rainforest and agriculture land are being destroyed for the reduction of meat and soya to feed the animals. People want and have got used to mass-produced meat that is cheap. Can I have the next slide, please? Human rights and land grabbing. Land grabbing is a serious issue that affects the environment, economy, social welfare, and human rights. There are about 62 grabbed countries and 41 grabber countries. People's lands and homes are taken and destroyed, leaving them homeless and without a way of making a wage. Now, I was quite surprised with this, but I've only given a few examples of the grabbing and grabbed. So Asian companies are carving out massive areas in Africa, as well as Latin America, East Asia, and the Pacific. Japanese companies are in northern Brazil and Mozambique for soya production. Chinese companies are aggressively buying farmland in New Zealand and Australia, as well as Russia's Far East. Indian companies are keen on Ethiopia. French and Portuguese companies favour their former colonies in Africa, and UK and US companies, sadly, are pretty much everywhere. Can I have the next slide, please? Killing of wildlife and another pandemic. So, as we know, there is an awful lot of deforestation, and with this, sadly, comes destruction of natural habitats and killing of wildlife. The habitats become smaller and smaller, and the wildlife get pushed nearer and nearer to humans. This is when the likelihood of animal diseases can cross over to humans. And well, we have all seen the results of this in the last 18 months to almost 2 years. And if I can have the next slide, please. Sorry, just bear with me 1 second. And yeah, is there a next one? That's it. Food for thought. What made you eat less meat or became vegetarian or vegan? What have you found encourages friends or family to eat less meat? And what is your signature vegetarian or vegan dish and why? And we can discuss that at the end. Just bear with me again 1 second while I switch. So thank you for listening to me. And now I will introduce the recording of my friend and chef, Joe Pinnard. He has worked in the Limes, the Lockhart Tavern, and recently has moved down to Brighton. Joe is preparing 2 dishes that can both be vegan or vegetarian, and he has sent his apologies for not being able to join us live. And there will be time for questions after the recording. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, Donna. Thank you.